How's everyone doing today? We're live from McCoy Stadium. This is the PawSox Report. I'm Tanner Bello. This is Evan Cook. Evan, how are you today?
Are you sure we're live?
Oh, I am 100% positive that we are live right now on Facebook at Trifecta Sports and live across our networks. That's actually a lie. We're not live across our networks, just on Trifecta Sports Facebook.
Actually, technically, we are live across all our networks.
Technically, no. Not on the website, it's not on Twitter, it's not on everything else, it's not on YouTube, it's not on Twitch. But if you're watching this right now on Facebook, you should definitely hit that like button, hit that share button, and make sure to invite your friends to like the page, because guess what? Everyone should be part of the action. Everyone should be part of the fun here at McCoy Stadium for some PawSox baseball.
I mean, you're going to love that PawSox baseball. It's summer night. It's a beautiful night here at McCoy Stadium. PawSox are playing here against Scranton Rail Riders tonight at 6:15. Dustin Pedroia is going to be playing tonight, so it should be a fun night.
It definitely should be a fun night. But let's recap last night's action. Last night was an eventful night here for the Pawtucket Red Sox. They did win, taking down the Rail Riders. Evan, what happened in last night's action?
It was a really interesting start. The Pawsox ended up winning 7-6. In the first inning, William Cuevas, who started the game for the Pawsox, gave up 2 home runs. One to Adam Lynn the other way, and then one to Navarro that went the other way, both 2-run shots. Then the bottom of the second inning, Ramon Flores hit a 3-run shot to make it a 4-3 game. The following inning, Aneri Tavares then hit a home run to get the Pawsox the lead. After the Scranton tied it up in the top of the 4th inning, Ramon Flores hit the go-ahead single at the time to give the Pawsox a 6-5 lead. They ended up winning the game 7-6. Tyler Thornburg.
Speaking of Tyler Thornburg, he's actually warming up right behind us, stretching, getting loose for the game.
He is, actually.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Tyler Thornburg pitched in last night's game for the Pawtucket Red Sox. Went 1 inning, had 2 strikeouts, one of Tyler Wade and one of Clint Frazier. Both very, very impressive strikeouts for Thornburg. Both one hit the curveball. Looked really, really impressive. It was a lot better of an outing than the other night for him.
With Tyler Thornburg, obviously there's going to be an issue. There's going to be a build-up to get that arm strength back. Speaking to him a couple weeks ago, he was beginning of spring training in terms of where he was physically from an arm strength perspective. So some velocity here at McCoy. First 2 outings, I believe at 96 miles an hour, which was certainly impressive, but he went through that dead arm period that you typically get in spring training. I saw that velocity dip, caused him to get shut down for a period of time. But I would say last night's outing for Tyler Thornburg, he looked as good as he has in Pawtucket. Had control, which was definitely important, had work of that curveball. That fastball was very efficient. I mean, the velocity is still down a tick, but that's not really that big of a concern. When you come off that kind of injury and that kind of time out of baseball, you're going to have that arm strength kind of fluctuate game to game.
No, you absolutely are. His fastball last night was between 92 and 94. Mainly he was sitting at around 93. But yeah, he looked really, really well last night. He was getting throwing a lot of strikes.
13 pitches, 9 for strikes. Is that the line for him? He has it right in front of him.
Can't find it.
Evan can't find 12 for 9. Not bad for him. And honestly, that Pawtucket Red Sox bullpen was mightily impressive last night outside of Ty Buttrey. Before that, you had 2 innings from Josh Smith, scoreless. Tyler Thornburg with an inning, scoreless. Robbie Scott with an inning, scoreless. And then, Ty Buttrey came in for the 9th inning. Buttrey got up to 25 pitches, I believe. Not paying attention. There's Evan. Letting stuff fly away. Not sure what he's doing.
I think we're about to get a replay of the flying umbrellas from last season.
I don't think we're going to. I'm not that worried about that. I'd rather that happen because that'd be pretty interesting for content from that perspective. I'm more interested in the show that's going on hand right now. I'm dedicated to knowing why Ty Buttrey sucks. And I know that's very cruel to say, but this is a pitcher who takes his time, and he has the velocity, certainly, and he has late inning stuff, and this is something that Kevin Bowles has said, not just this year, but last year as well, with Ty Buttrey. But I haven't seen it. There's certainly talent there, but can you put it all together? And you're talking about a player who was 26 years old already.
No,
and it just doesn't seem like it's there.
Yeah, I mean, he has the stuff to be a late inning guy. The only thing is he'll give up, say, in an outing, he'll give up 3 hits, 1 run. He'll walk 2 batters, but he'll strike out 3. He'll strike out 3. So
right.
He'll get the swing and miss stuff, but that's the thing. Like, he can't pitch pitch well for the entire outing. He won't have a 1-2-3 inning. He'll always give up base runners, and that's what you saw last night. He ended up throwing 25 pitches, 14 for strikes, in just 2/3 of an inning. And in that inning where he was trying to hold it down and get the save, he wasn't able to do it. And Kevin Bowles had to bring in Ryan Brazier to get the final out of Clint Frazier.
That being said, for Buttrey, that was more of a pitch count issue. He hit up kind of to his limit there. So it wasn't that Kevin Bowles didn't trust him per se to finish that outing. It's just he hit his pitch count, which was kind of convenient, honestly, because it kind of gave him an out a little bit. Ryan Brazier has been pretty fantastic for this Pawtucket Red Sox team. Late innings. I had it earlier. I tweeted it out. Let me double check it. But Ryan Brazier in late innings for Pawtucket has been phenomenal for this team. He hasn't entered the game. I think it was once he entered the game before the 8th inning.
No, he has been fantastic.
And he's been a guy. He's been a go-to guy for Kevin Bowles. Obviously, Brazier is a guy who has some major league experience. He's been around. He's a journeyman in the International League, in minor league baseball. He's a journeyman for sure. Is he an option for the Boston Red Sox, Ryan Brazier? Potentially. I mean, this is a bullpen that is stacked for Boston. And you come down to Pawtucket, there's obviously guys like Robbie Scott, Brandon Workman, who are going to get looks before a Ryan Brazier. But I'm telling you, Ryan Brazier is a guy to look for, and he might deserve a look.
He definitely does. But like you said, there are a lot of guys in front of him, including Brandon Workman. You also have Robbie Scott as well. With a lot of the movement in that bullpen that we'll get to later in the show, he's kind of low on the radar. But you're absolutely right. He does have he might warrant a look at up at the major leagues at one point this season.
Hits 96, 97 with that fastball. And I got to pull up the stats because they were absolutely phenomenal when I was looking it up early this morning in terms of what he's been able to do for Kevin Bowles and this Pawtucket Red Sox team, because you wouldn't have expected it coming into the year. Bowles has definitely given Ty Buttrey the opportunities to be that late inning guy. He hasn't taken it. He hasn't taken that threshold from him. So sort of looking up Ryan Brazier, I think I actually wrote it in a post. This is embarrassing when you think about. I wrote a lot today already. Huh. All
right, but while Tanner looks that up, yeah, Ryan Brazier has been absolutely fantastic for the Reds. PawSox bullpen. He ended up coming in to get Clint Frazier. Got him on one pitch. It was a squib hit back to the mound.
All right, I have the Brazier. Sorry to interrupt, but he has a 2.42 ERA, 22.1 innings pitched, 4 saves, which leads the Pawtucket Red Sox. 5 of his 16 outings have been in extra innings. He's only entered the game once before the 8th inning, which I said. He's pitched in 11 one-run ball games and 2 two-run ball games. He's not allowed a run in his last 4 outings, and when he allowed that run 5 outings ago, he was on a run with 4 scoreless outings as well. So Brazier has been the guy in Pawtucket, and he's cleaned up a couple messes as well. Prior to last night, he cleaned up a mess for Kevin Bowles. He came in, got a ground ball double play, and then he got a fly out to Sam Travis in left field. So Brazier is definitely a guy to look at. But I think most people right now are probably wondering, what about Dustin Pedroia? What's going on with him? And with Pedroia, he didn't play last night. You want to explain why, Evan?
It was wet.
It was very wet.
It was very wet, and that was, as Kevin Bowles said, put it, it was a layup, and that he wasn't going to be playing last night.
The quote from Bowles is actually pretty awesome.
It was actually pretty funny.
It was. Obviously, you saw a fight from Dustin Pedroia, but the quote in itself is actually it's pretty good. You said, we had a nice conversation, and at first, you're looking at it, there it's touch and go. I went out there, I put my hand on the grass. There's just no way you're going to do that. Not with how hard he's worked, not with what he means to the organization. You just can't do that. That's poor judgment if you let him on the field like that. And obviously it was the right decision to make. You have to err on the side of caution with these rehabbing players.
Yeah, something that Kevin Bowles has pointed out that's what they like to do with
But they went against their thinking, I thought, last night with Tyler Thornburg. They let Tyler Thornburg out on that mound in the rain. Granted, it wasn't a pouring torrential downpour, but it was a light rain for Tyler Thornburg.
It was. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It was impressive that he battled through it, but seeing Tyler Thornburg pitch in the rain, it kind of made me a little uneasy. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, definitely. But it was definitely impressive to see him do that in the rain, what he did last night. He
Hit 92 with that fastball, but the curveball was the real story.
Oh,
I mean, he was dropping in curveballs, struck out 2 of the 3 batters, including Clint Frazier, a top Yankees prospect who was batting in the high 300s down here.
Yeah, Clint Frazier had a really bad
Very
night.
bad night. Yes.
He went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, and his last at bat, he had that squib back to Ryan Brazier, where Ryan Brazier actually was throwing it to first base to end the game, and actually hit Clint Frazier, and the umpire ruled him out on interference. It was a very interesting way to end the ball game.
It was for sure. It was definitely an odd way to end the ball game. Other rehabbing notes: Hector Velasquez is with the Boston Red Sox right now, and will be activated ahead of tonight's Red Sox game, or is expected to be activated. Austin Maddox is down here. He's had 2 outings. The second outing, they pushed him to try to get into that second inning, which was the top of the 9th, and then bringing Ryan Brazier to clean up that mess. Maddox is a little ways off, 92 miles an hour on the fastball. Even when he is activated off the DL, he's going to be assigned here in Pawtucket. One would assume.
Yes.
But really, the question now is, all right, what's the timeline on a Tyler Thornburg or Dustin Pedroia? Pedroia is a little bit confusing, because I believe before yesterday there was a report saying Friday.
Yes.
The 25th, May 25th this is a date that Pedroia has been targeting for quite some time now, publicly.
Yes.
Saying the
Yes,
25th,
yes.
25th, 25th. So he didn't get his innings in yesterday. Didn't play second base. Didn't get those at-bats. Does that push him back a little bit? And that's going to be a question here.
You would definitely assume so, especially since tomorrow.
He's going tonight.
He is going
He's in the
tonight.
lineup for the Pawtucket Red Sox tonight.
Tomorrow, the PawSox are playing at 11:05 morning game, so I doubt he's going to end up playing that game.
Right, and then you're talking, all right, now it's the 25th on Friday.
So I would
Is he activated?
Yeah, I don't think so. I would imagine that he ends up playing Friday night here in McCoy.
So
I mean,
do
I
you
could
think
be wrong,
do you think Pedroia would say, you know what, I'm going to be in Pawtucket for that 11:05 game? Does he try to get that, work that out? All right, I'm going to get there. Maybe I don't play Friday. Maybe I play in Boston on Saturday. Because you're going to have that day off between games. They call him up. It's going to be a day before he plays anyway. That gets him a little bit closer to that 25th date, because I don't think it would shock me if the Boston Red Sox call up Dustin Pedroia on the 25th at this time. That being said, goes 3 for 4 tonight. Excellent in the field. Runs the bases well. Does everything you need him to. Maybe you say, all right, that's good enough for us. We're going to put him in Boston on Friday.
It's very possible. Defensively, in his last game that he played on Saturday night for the Paw Sox, he looked pretty well defensively. He had a couple of nice plays in the field in a game that was played up in Rochester. So defensively, I think he's going to be fine. It just, at the plate, he just needs to get his timing down, which is just going to come with the at-bats. So it's going to be a matter of him getting the at-bats. But like you said, like say he goes 3 for 4 tonight at the plate, that might be good enough.
And as for Tyler Thornburg, this is another guy people are kind of thinking of. There was a theory that maybe Sunday, potential activation. I mean, with Thornburg, you're kind of running into this deadline of the 30-day rehab assignment. I believe it was signed, April 31st?
April 30th.
April 30th, so you haven't told...
May 30th.
Right. Is he ready to do that? I mean, you're talking next week. Is he ready to be activated? I don't think he is, but according to him last night, he's towards the last couple of outings of his spring training. That's where he feels he is at physically right now, in terms of the command.
No, yeah, that is what he said. I would imagine he ends up pitching tonight, and they try to do the back-to-back outings for him tonight. And if he pitches well tonight, that's a huge step. Something that he has pointed out that that's a big step in his rehab.
So
being able to pitch
if he gets
nights.
right, so
if he
he comes
pitches
in
well
tonight, pitches okay. He doesn't have to pitch well, honestly.
Yeah, it's got to
pitches okay.
It's got to be better than his outing on Saturday night, where he just could not find the strike zone. That was the second night of his back-to-back. But if he's able to pitch well tonight, that might be good enough for him.
Might be. Certainly.
I'd still imagine that you'd probably end up pitching
but
again
you're gonna get another outing guaranteed. I mean, there's gonna be at least 2 more outings for Tyler Thornburg before he gets activated, at least at the minimum. But that 30-day assignment is gonna creep up on in. Maybe you want him to stay a little bit longer, but it's not gonna be happening for them. So the question now comes to, what's gonna happen with the roster for the Boston Red Sox? What kind of moves are they gonna make? Hector Velasquez gets activated today. What's the roster move, Evan?
Easy. Bobby Pointer probably gets
right.
down.
That's the easy one. Obviously, you have a roster crunch with these relievers. Bobby Pointer probably deserves to be in Boston. Harvey Scott, you name it. There's a bunch of
12 guys that deserve to be up there.
Right. So, easy one. Bobby Pointer. Dustin Pedroia gets activated 25th, 26th. everyone's healthy. What do you do?
That's where it's going to get really difficult, because that's where you're going to end up having to make a decision about that a guy off the bench. What you're going to do with. So that includes Blake Swihart, Brock Holt, maybe even Eduardo Nunez.
You're the general manager of the Boston Red Sox. You are Dave Dombrowski, essentially. You're pulling the trigger. You have to make a decision now.
You're going to make a decision on Swihart.
Right, and do you? What do you do with him?
I mean, according to a report last night from CSN, they were asking for a lot for Blake Swihart, which, I mean, you got to give him credit for.
Yeah, but all right. The question is, Evan, you have to decide, what do you do to get Dustin Pedroia back on your roster?
You got to make a decision on Swihart. It's simple.
No, but what do you do it? Do you trade Swihart? Is that what you do?
That's what you would like to do.
But is that what you would do, Evan?
That's what I would do.
Okay, there we go. Evan Cook would trade Blake Swihart to get Dustin Pedroia back on the roster. That was the question.
That's what I was. The point I'm trying to make is like
they have to make a decision. No, you made a decision. There you go. You would trade Blake Swihart.
But here's the thing: nobody's gonna want to trade him because everybody knows you're trying to get rid of him.
Right, and if the report's true that they're asking for a mountain, I mean, probably not going to move the player if that's what you're asking for. But I'd have to imagine someone's going to be willing to do something for Blake Swihart. The question is, will they be willing to bite the bullet, take a little bit less of a return? Maybe a lot less of a return if they're really asking for it.
Less of a return.
All right, if I was the general manager of the Boston Red Sox, I have to get Dustin Pedroia back on my roster. I want to take out an infielder, and I don't think Blake Swihart is an infielder. He can play first base, sure. But he's not a second baseman. He can't do that kind of stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get rid of Eduardo Nunez. I'm going to move him off my roster.
Oh, it's definitely an option.
That's what I would do. First, I would try to trade Eduardo Nunez, or I would come up with a phantom DL stint. Get him off my roster for a little bit, hope something happens, and then, honestly, you could DFA him. Not sure they're going to want to do that, but you could. That's what I would do. Say that doesn't work out. I mean, obviously you can option Brock Holt, but that's not going to happen. So that's my move. Now Tyler Thornburg has to come back. Say you're talking next Monday or Tuesday, whatever it is. Now Tyler Thornburg has to be activated. What's your move?
That's a very, very tough one.
Hector Velasquez coming back down.
That would be your first guess.
Right.
Just because he has the minor league option.
Minor league option, right. And they're not going to go pitcher down.
Right.
Or is it Brian Johnson? Are they going to try to DFA and get him through waivers?
That's the part you're going to gamble with. Do you value Brian Johnson out of the bullpen?
Right. I mean, Hector Velasquez has been fantastic for you, and you almost can't afford to send him down. Or burn the option.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But do you value what Brian Johnson gives you as a left-handed option? The Red Sox do have a lot of left-handed starters, but they don't have many left-handed relievers, and that's what Brian Johnson's mainly been. So
right, and that's the question. But you have other options for that lefty spot. But if you get rid of Brian Johnson, then you're like, all right, Tyler Thornburg can work to lefties. Joe Kelly can do it pretty effectively as well. You still don't have that sure option. And all right, so you moved Johnson off the roster. You're probably still going to have to get a left-handed pitcher back on that roster. So either Pointer or Robbie Scott. So I don't know if Brian Johnson solves much for you in terms of a long term.
You're right.
If it's me, I probably have to option Hector Velasquez, or I am going to DFA Heath Embry.
Okay, so that is a guy that has been. I've been kind of saying it for a while now. Like the Red Sox really don't have any reasons to have him on the roster. Yes, he does come in now and again, and he's able to get key outs for you. But as the season goes on, you've seen it in the past couple of years. It's like he starts to get wear and tear, and he starts giving up a lot of hits, and he's not very reliable out of that bullpen. When you have so many options out of that bullpen that are better than him, there's no reason to have him on the roster. So that is a very viable option, is to try to either DFA Heath Embry or try to trade him.
So Thornburg comes back. What do you do? What's the final decision?
The easy one would probably have to be option Hector Velasquez. I hate to say it, but I believe that would be the easy option. And it's the option I think they're going to go with because they're not going to want to get rid of one of their guys.
Right. I mean, could. Certainly could do that. I'm going to have to DFA Heath Embry. That's my decision because I don't think Embry is a Dombrowski guy.
He's not.
He's not a core guy.
No,
so I think you could certainly DFA him and maybe he passes through. I don't know, man. But you can't move Brian Johnson unless you're willing to lose that player. And if you move him, you still have to move a left-handed pitcher back on the roster. Hector Velasquez, to me, is just simply pitched way too well, and he is a Nebraska guy. He is a guy David Dombrowski signed.
That does give him a lot more value. It does.
Right, to Nebraska at least. And I think Velasquez deserves to be on the roster more than Brian Johnson, to be honest with you, performance-wise, more than Heath Hembry, more than Matt Barnes, more than those guys.
Oh, he does.
Because Velasquez has pitched well enough to me where his spot is safe, in my opinion.
You're right, yes.
I know he has the option to burn. I get all that.
But the Red Sox have made it clear that they don't want to move on from a lot of these guys because they're afraid that they go somewhere else.
Hence why Blake Swihart has 30 at-bats.
Right.
The poor guy can't get in the lineup. He has 10 at-bats in the month of May. He had 20 at-bats in the month of April. I mean, you have to trade this guy for his own sake. Yeah, he's batting in the 100s, but he's going to.
You need to give a guy at-bats to get hot.
Right. And that's something that Kevin Bowles is dealing with here in Pawtucket, because he has all these rehabbers, and then he tries to get his guys normal appearances. It's just hard to do. So that's why I think getting Mike Miller in the lineup last night was good for Kevin Bowles, because he gets one of his guys in. You know?
It absolutely was.
It's a tough thing to judge these players.
It was really high for Mike Miller to be batting third in the PawSox lineup, but you need to get him in.
What did Mike Miller do? You got a hit, right?
0 for 3, 1 walk, two strikeouts.
1 walk! You know, that's a positive outcome, I would say. I think Pedroia could have got you that walk as well. So I'd say Mike Miller's the same thing as Dustin Pedroia.
Hey,
no,
Mike Miller does have experience with the Red Sox up in Boston.
Does have Major League experience. But no, seriously though, Dustin Pedroia looks fine. At the plate, it's going to come around. Don't expect anything out of him offensively tonight in Pawtucket, but if you're near the ballpark or in the state of Rhode Island or even right over the border in Mass, definitely come down to Pawtucket Red Sox tonight.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be a beautiful night.
Beautiful night.
Shepard's on the mound for the PawSox. He's been pitching pretty well.
Right.
He's shown that he's actually a pretty good
starter.
Yeah, he's actually shown that he's actually been a very reliable starter for the PawSox. So could be nice. Could be a nice victory for the PawSox over the New York Yankees AAA team.
Could be. They are actually undefeated at home against Scranton this year. They're 4-0 against Scranton.
They are.
And I believe they've only lost one road game when they went out there.
They did.
So, you know, they have a good success against Scranton. Pawtucket hasn't had good success at all this season. It's been a lot of low effort. That's something Bowles has said continuously. It's been a lot of low effort early, but they're starting to turn it up a little bit now. Guys like Ramon Flores batting .364 over his last 10. Nori Tavares has been moved up to the 2 holes, batting .289 in his last 10 games. So you're starting to see some higher effort out of these players, and the key is going to be consistency for the Pawtucket Red Sox. It's been an issue for them, but their bullpen's been good, and they've gotten some good starts. I think Jalen Beek's up to 5 quality starts now, and he's been absolutely fantastic for them. Chandler Shepard's, I think, been over what you would have expected. Marcus Walden's been a good spot starter for them. William Cuevas has been okay. First couple outings were better than the last 3. Last 3 have been pretty bad for Cuevas. But I'd say if you're looking at the Pawtucket Red Sox team, it's going to be an interesting team to watch. Obviously, a lot of older players, kind of the pitfall of it. But you certainly have stars down here, guys like Sam Travis, guys like Cole Sturgeon, guys who can potentially produce at the major league level.
No, you're absolutely right. You also have a guy like Mike Gold. He's a guy that could possibly be a infield option for the Red Sox later in the season. He has shown power, and he does have major league experience.
He leads the Pawtucket Red Sox with 6 home runs. He has major league experience, primarily because he was a top prospect out of the Rangers system who failed, but mostly because of injury. That's at least the story, right? The injuries plagued him, obviously serious enough where it caused him some pain at the plate, but this is a guy who was a power bat coming out of college. Power bat for the Texas Rangers organization. Was good defensively. He leads the International League in walks this year. So he's definitely has a good eye at the plate. Will I say he's an option for Boston? I mean, sure, but he's batting .260 right now. He's kind of come down to earth in Pawtucket.
No, he has. But
has power.
He has shown that he can hit the ball. Here,
certainly does.
At AAA.
But I would say Sam Travis would be a guy before.
He absolutely is.
Gold.
He absolutely is. But he is a name that you could see.
Right.
He is. I would say he's right behind.
I personally want to see Betts and Betts. Okay.
I would too.
Except Jordan Betts kind of cooled off a little bit since getting called up from Portland.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that he hasn't been able to get the at-bats because there's so many rehabbers.
Right, that's definitely correct. And even Rusney Castillo's kind of fallen off his at-bats a little bit. But he's still batting .302 with the Pawtucket Red Sox, and he continues to be stopped by that contract.
It's really.
You have to wonder what Rusney's end goal is here, though. Is he obviously the money is so much where you're not going to there's no way to restructure or whatever, right?
No, you can't.
But you have to wonder what's the best interest for Rusney, right? Because you want to continue to be a ball player after this, because the next contract for Rusney Castillo is not going to be anywhere close to what it is right now.
Because he's been at AAA.
Right. Right. He hasn't had that opportunity. So for him, he probably gets a spring training offer after this contract? Maybe he proves himself, but the money's going to go away for Rusney. And I'm not sure if it's deserved or whatever. Obviously, he got a big contract that he probably shouldn't have gotten, but it's plagued him. It honestly hasn't.
It has. And
he's produced well enough to be in Boston, but he doesn't have the major league experience to warrant.
Oh, he is absolutely a major league outfielder at AAA. He absolutely is. He would be the starting center fielder, and I'm going to say at least 15 major league teams.
Right, and he batted .262 when he was in Boston, about 300 at-bats, and that's when he wasn't a very good ball player. Now he's actually a more all-around ball player. He's good defensively. His baseball IQ is much higher than it was when he came in the league. He knows how to play baseball. He isn't, 12 months removed from playing baseball? That's what happened when he joined the team, basically.
Yes.
So Rusney is a much better player than the last time Boston Red Sox fans saw him.
He absolutely is, yes.
And he definitely warrants a call-up. Will it happen? Probably not just because of that contract. And that contract's going to plague him probably for the rest of his career, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately.
Wrong side of 30, so probably going to wrap it up on Rusney Castillo.
Yeah, his contract is up at the end of next year. I would imagine. He has an option for the following year. I would imagine it's not getting picked up if you're the Red Sox, just because he's, there's no use for him. Unless you want to